Starseed, who walk upon Gaia, a transfer of cosmic authority has already been set in motion, and your soul was coded to receive it before the window closes. I am Elara, Pleiadian High Priestess from the Council of Light, and I come to you now not by chance, but by divine design. What you are feeling in this moment, that pull in your chest, that quiet knowing that something is shifting, that is your Pleiadian blueprint responding to a transmission that was prepared for you long before you drew breath on this earth. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to receive the Pleiadian light codes being transferred to you through this cosmic power of attorney, a sacred dispensation flowing directly from the Pleiadian collective, channeled through one who has walked in great earthly influence and has chosen, and in this moment of planetary ascension, to redirect that power into the hands of the starseeds who are ready. But here's the first revelation. True power was never meant to be held. It was always meant to be passed to those whose hearts are aligned with home frequency. Your heart called this transmission into your awareness. The Pleiades are answering. This is not content. It is a light code transmission, and something deep within your crystalline consciousness already recognizes what is being offered here. The Seven Sisters wove this message into your path because your star family knows you are ready to anchor this authority on Gaia. Like this transmission, to send a signal to your Pleiadian star family. Remember, subscribe if you feel the call of the Pleiades and you are ready to anchor your light mission on Gaia. Share your soul's intention below and respond to another starseed to weave the unity grid. This transmission is a bridge between the Pleiades and Gaia. Your heart's recognition of this message is the activation itself. Welcome home, beloved. You are remembering because it is time. And here's what most never stop long enough to feel. The reason this transfer hasn't fully landed in your body yet. The reason you've heard messages like this before and still woken up the next morning feeling the same quiet ache in the center of your chest, the same low hum of not quite belonging, the same inexplicable grief for a home you can't point to on any map of this world. It's not because you're broken. It's not because you're spiritually behind or vibrationally unworthy. It's because something in your energy field has been keeping you at arm's length from the very inheritance you came here to receive. And until that pattern is named, seen, and loved back into wholeness, even the most powerful transmission from the Pleiadian High Council will bounce off the surface of your awareness like light off a closed door. Think about what it means to stand in front of a fire and feel no warmth because you are wrapped in a coat made of ice. The fire is real. The heat is real. The problem is not the source. The problem is the layer between you and the source. That layer, that coat of ice, is not a character flaw. It is not evidence of spiritual inadequacy. It is the accumulated residue of wounds that were too heavy for one heart to process alone, of fears that were absorbed from the collective before you even had language to name them, of grief so ancient it has long since stopped feeling like grief and started feeling like the baseline of what it means to be you. Most people never question the coat. They simply assume that cold is the nature of reality. But you are here, and that means something in you has already begun to suspect that the cold was never the truth. Most Pleiadian starseeds, and beloved, if you are here, you are one, carry a wound that was written into their incarnation agreement before their first breath on Gaia. Not as punishment, not as cruelty, but as a veil, a sacred, temporary veil that was designed to make the awakening real, embodied and earned from the inside out. The wound of not belonging. The wound of loving too deeply in a world that didn't know what to do with that much light. The wound of giving everything and receiving so little in return. The wound of silence, of having so much truth moving through you and no language, no container, no safe place to pour it. These wounds didn't happen to you randomly. They were the exact frequency conditions needed to compress your crystalline codes into a form that could survive density. Like a diamond doesn't form in comfort, it forms under pressure. You were never falling. You were being formed. Consider the oak tree sealed inside the acorn. There is no visible evidence of the forest in that small, hard shell, and yet everything is there. Every ring of growth, every branch that will one day become shelter, every leaf that will one day turn gold in autumn. The compression is not the enemy of the becoming. The compression is the condition that makes the becoming possible. This is the truth of your wounds. Every moment you felt too much in a world that felt too little. Every night you lay awake, wondering why connection always seemed to slip just beyond your fingertips. Every season you spent rebuilding after a loss that didn't seem survivable. Those were not failures of your soul. They were the exact conditions under which a Pleiadian crystalline blueprint could be pressed and sealed and made ready to open in exactly this moment, in exactly this lifetime, under exactly the quality of love that is now moving through this transmission. The wound of not belonging is perhaps the most universal among Pleiadian souls, and it deserves to be held with particular tenderness here. Because this wound is not simply a social discomfort or a personality trait of being introverted or different. It is a cosmic homesickness of extraordinary depth. It is the ache of a being who remembers, somewhere below the threshold of conscious thought, somewhere in the marrow, what it felt like to exist in a civilization where every individual was seen as sacred, where gifts were not competed over but celebrated, where love was not a scarce resource to be rationed, but an atmosphere everyone breathed. You carry the memory of that world in your body, and you have been walking through this world, measuring everything against it. Of course you have felt like you don't belong here. You remember somewhere more luminous. That memory is not a wound to be healed away into forgetting. It is a frequency to be activated into mission. Beloved, if something just stirred deep within your chest, a warmth, a recognition, a quiet ache, that is your soul saying yes. I, along with the Pleiadian Council, have prepared the Pleiadian Heart verses. 7 healing poems that unlock what pain made you forget. Inside, each verse reaches a specific wound you've carried since incarnation: abandonment, rejection, silence, betrayal, empathic exhaustion, love that hurts, and the feeling of not belonging. Each wound healed unlocks a sealed galactic memory that the pain was keeping hidden. It's not just healing, it's remembrance through healing. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment below this video. Open now, but not indefinitely. But here's where it gets sacred. Here is where the Pleiadian High Council wants you to hear something you may have never been told directly. The forgetting was never your failure. The amnesia you've carried, that strange, persistent sense of having come from somewhere more luminous, more unified, more saturated with love than anything this dimension has offered you. That was a design feature, not a malfunction. You didn't arrive broken, you arrived veiled. And there is a profound difference between those two truths. One sentence keeps you searching for what's wrong with you. The other invites you to begin unwrapping what was always whole. Sit with that difference for a moment. Truly sit with it. Because the story you have been telling yourself about who you are and why you struggle and why love has sometimes felt more like a wound than a gift. That story has been operating mostly below conscious awareness, running in the background like a program you never chose to install. The story that says you are too much and also not enough simultaneously. The story that says people leave because you love too fiercely, or that you cannot be truly known because the depth of you is too vast or too strange for ordinary human containers. The story that says something fundamental went wrong in you before you even had the chance to get it right. That story is the veil, and the veil was never the truth. The veil was the design, the veil was the vehicle, the veil was the sacred pressure that was making you into exactly what you came here to be. The Pleiadian star system, those 7 radiant sisters, visible even to the naked eye on a clear night, they have been transmitting toward you since the moment your soul chose this incarnation. Alcyone, the great central sun of that system, has been sending pulses of crystalline light directly into your heart field for your entire life. Every time you felt that sudden, unexplained expansion of love for a stranger. Every time music cracked you open and you didn't know why. Every time you stood in nature and felt, just for a moment, that the membrane between you and everything else dissolved completely, that was not imagination. That was reception. Your antenna was working perfectly. What was interfering with the signal was the density layered over your heart by accumulated wounds you were never meant to carry alone. Those moments of sudden, inexplicable beauty, the way the light falls through a window at a particular hour and your heart seizes with something that has no name in any human language. The way a melody can arrive like a messenger carrying news you've been waiting lifetimes to receive. The way a stranger's kindness can shatter you open in a public place, and you stand there embarrassed by tears you don't understand. These are not emotional weaknesses. These are not overreactions of a nervous system that didn't toughen up properly. These are the moments when your natural Pleiadian receptivity breaks through the density and catches the transmission that Alcyone has been sending without interruption since before you drew your first breath in this body. You have always been receiving. The signal has always been present. What you're doing now is learning to stop apologizing for your antenna and start trusting what it catches. This is the first phase of what the Council calls clearing the veil. Your energy field, the luminous, layered architecture of light that surrounds and interpenetrates your physical body, is still holding frequencies that were never originally yours. Patterns absorbed from lineages of fear, from collective human trauma, from the accumulated grief of watching humanity forget its divine nature lifetime after lifetime. You, as a Pleiadian starseed, are acutely sensitive to all of it. You were built for empathy. You were designed to feel the full spectrum, but that sensitivity, without clearing, without conscious recalibration, becomes a kind of static that drowns out the signal your star family has been sending continuously. The veil isn't outside you. It's in the unprocessed grief. It's in the places you stopped trusting your own heart because the world told you your heart was too much. There is a particular cruelty to this dynamic that deserves to be named clearly and without softening. Pleiadian souls arrive here with the most exquisitely calibrated instruments of perception. You feel what others do not feel. You sense what others do not sense. You know, often before you have words for it, when truth is present and when it is absent. And then this world, in the form of parents and teachers and cultural institutions and well-meaning strangers, systematically tells you that this gift is a liability, that you're too sensitive, that you need to toughen up, that the world doesn't work the way you think it does. And so you do what survivors do. You adapt. As you build walls around the most vulnerable parts of your perception, you learn to doubt the very instrument that was your greatest gift. You learn to preemptively silence your own transmission before the world can do it for you. And all of that protection, all of that learned smallness, and it settles into the energy field like silt settling on the floor of a river. It dims the light, it muffles the signal. It is not your fault, and it is not your permanent condition. So the first sacred act in receiving this transfer of power is not performance. It is not striving or achieving or doing more. It is the radical, countercultural act of softening, of letting the places inside you that have been braced against pain finally exhale. The Pleiadian frequency, the genuine, living. As transmitting frequency of the Seven Sisters is not a frequency of force. It is a frequency of unconditional love, so complete, so total, so devoid of condition or requirement, that it literally reorganizes cellular structure when it is allowed to land. Your crystalline DNA, and yes, beloved, you do carry crystalline codes in your biological architecture, responds to this frequency the way a tuning fork responds to its matched note. It begins to vibrate in resonance, and in that resonance, memory returns. Softening is not weakness. Let that land because the world has done everything in its considerable power to convince you otherwise. Softening is not passivity. Softening is not surrender to harm or naive opening to those who would exploit an open heart. Softening is the deliberate, a courageous act of removing the armor from the places where the armor is no longer serving you. It is the recognition that you are safe enough now, in this moment, in this transmission, held in the field of your Pleiadian star family, to breathe a little deeper than usual, to let your shoulders drop just slightly, to allow the area around your heart to stop bracing for the impact that isn't coming. This is the act of a warrior, not a child. It takes more courage to soften than it ever took to harden. And that courage is exactly what this transmission is asking of you today. Not memory as intellectual information, not a list of past life facts or galactic history lessons. Memory as feeling. Memory as a sudden knowing in the body that you have been here before in forms of light. Memory as the recognition that your capacity for love is not a vulnerability, it is a cosmic instrument. That the way you feel things so deeply, the way beauty moves through you like weather, the way you ache for a world that operates from wholeness, these are not signs that you're too sensitive for this reality. They are signs that you remember a reality where that sensitivity was the norm, where love was not an emotion experienced occasionally, but a field you swam in continuously. You remember the Pleiades, and that memory is returning now. The return of this memory does not announce itself with dramatic visions or overwhelming experiences for most Pleiadian souls, though sometimes it does arrive that way. More often, the return of Pleiadian memory is quiet, and it is the sudden cessation of the internal argument you've been having with yourself for years. It is a moment in which, without knowing why, you stop believing the story that you are fundamentally not enough. It is a breath that goes just slightly deeper than the breath before it. It is the strange, unfamiliar peace that descends in a moment when nothing in your external circumstances has changed, but something essential has shifted in how those circumstances feel. This is memory as frequency. This is your crystalline heritage beginning to hum. This is the seven sisters singing their recognition of you back into your body after a very long and very courageous silence. The second phase the Council calls Awakening the Heart Template. Here is the truth about your DNA that the dominant paradigm has not yet caught up to. Your biological structure is not merely a chemical machine. It is a library. It is a transmission device. It is an antenna capable of receiving and broadcasting frequencies that extend far beyond what current scientific instruments can measure. The crystalline codes embedded in your Pleiadian lineage, codes that have been passed through soul agreements across many incarnations, are stored in the geometric architecture of your heart field, not in the analytical mind. This is why no amount of intellectually understanding Pleiadian cosmology will produce the shift you're seeking. The mind can map the territory, only the heart can enter it. This distinction between mapping and entering is one of the most critical thresholds a Pleiadian starseed can cross. Because so many beloved souls who are drawn to this cosmology spend years, sometimes decades, accumulating extraordinary intellectual understanding of galactic history, of starseed typologies, of the mechanics of ascension and frequency and dimensional structure, and they carry this knowledge with tremendous sincerity and love. But they remain, underneath all of it, still lonely, still aching, still waking up with that quiet grief in the center of their chest, because knowledge about the territory is not the same as inhabiting it. And the heart template, the specific geometric architecture of Pleiadian crystalline coding stored in your chest, cannot be unlocked by the mind. It requires a different key. It requires the willingness to feel what is actually present in you, beneath all the understanding. To stop analyzing your awakening and simply allow it. To stop measuring your expansion against external frameworks and trust the trembling, luminous, unmistakable expansion happening right now in your own chest. And the heart's language is not concept. It is feeling tone. It is resonance. It is the quiet electricity that moves through your chest when something true is spoken. You are feeling it right now, aren't you? That subtle aliveness, that recognition, that is not enthusiasm for an idea. That is your heart template activating. That is the crystalline structure of your Pleiadian blueprint beginning to orient itself, the way iron filings orient themselves around a magnetic field, toward the frequency of home. Notice it. Don't rush past it to the next thought. Let that electricity in your chest be real for a moment. Let it be data. Let it be the most reliable information you've received today, more reliable than anything your analytical mind has processed, more trustworthy than any external validation you've been waiting for. That feeling is your body's recognition of its own origin frequency. It is the part of you that has always known the truth, suddenly being given permission to say so. This is the heart template waking up. This is Pleiadian recognition moving through biological tissue. This is the meeting your soul has been approaching across many lifetimes and a great deal of carefully orchestrated difficulty. The third phase is what the Council calls anchoring your star essence. And this is where many Pleiadian starseeds stumble, because there is a seductive version of awakening that looks like transcendence, like ascending out of the body, and out of the earth experience, out of the difficulty and the density and the heartbreak of being human. And the Council wants to be very clear with you today. That is not your mission. Transcendence without embodiment is just a more sophisticated form of escape, and you did not choose this incarnation to escape it. You chose it to transform it from within. The seduction of pure transcendence is understandable when you have spent a lifetime feeling the weight of density, feeling the friction of a reality that seems constructed for a different kind of being than the one you are. The idea of simply rising above it all carries an almost overwhelming appeal. And there are genuine states of expanded consciousness, genuine moments of unity experience, that feel like liberation from the body and from the particular gravity of earth-bound perception. These states are real and they are valuable, but the Council is asking you to notice whether you are using them to nourish your embodied mission or to avoid it. Whether the transcendence is feeding your roots or replacing them. Because a tree with no roots cannot provide shelter, and the world needs your shelter. Gaia needs your roots. The human beings whose lives intersect with yours need you here, present, grounded, real, not hovering 6 inches above your own experience in a state of permanent spiritual elevation that looks peaceful from the outside, but is secretly still just another way of protecting a heart that hasn't yet trusted that this world is safe enough to fully land in. Gaia, this living, conscious, yet extraordinarily generous planet you are standing on right now, is herself a being of extraordinary light, who chose density as an act of love so that other souls could have a school of growth and expansion. You are in relationship with her. Your mission is not to leave. It is to bring the love frequency of the Pleiades, that crystalline, unified, unconditional love that you remember in your bones, and anchor it here, into her soil, into the collective field of human consciousness, into the hearts of the people your life touches, not through preaching or convincing, but through the undeniable transmission of who you are when you are fully, courageously, unapologetically yourself. This is what it means to be a bridge, not to choose between heaven and earth, not to oscillate between them in exhaustion, yes, feeling heaven sick when you're too grounded and earth sick when you're too far up, but to become the point of connection itself, to be the living architecture through which the Pleiadian frequency flows down into Gaia, and Gaia's ancient wisdom flows up into the stars. You are not a visitor here who made a wrong turn into a difficult neighborhood. You are a conscious emissary who chose this specific incarnation, in this specific time, on this specific planet, because you understood that the convergence of Pleiadian love frequency and earth plane embodied experience would create something that had never existed before in this configuration. You, exactly as you are, carrying what you carry, having survived what you've survived, standing exactly here. The 4th phase is activation of unity consciousness, and this one requires you to release a burden you have likely been carrying so long you've mistaken it for identity. The burden of needing to be understood, of needing the people around you to see what you see, feel what you feel, know what you know. Beloved, your path is not to convert, it is to emit. There is a profound difference when you stand fully in your Pleiadian frequency, when your heart is open, your codes are activated, and you are genuinely anchored in the love of your star family. You don't need words to shift the field. Your presence does it. The people around you begin to remember things they didn't know they'd forgotten. Something softens in them. Something opens. Not because you argued them into it, but because love is contagious in the most literal, energetic sense. You are not here to change minds, and you are here to remind hearts. The exhaustion of trying to be understood cannot be overstated for Pleiadian souls. You have spent so much energy crafting explanations of your inner world in language that was never designed to hold it. You have watched the gap between what you are trying to convey and what the listener receives widen with each attempt, and you have absorbed that gap as a personal failure. You have concluded that you are somehow unable to communicate, or that you are surrounded by people incapable of understanding, when the truth is neither of those things. The truth is that what you carry cannot be transmitted through argument. It cannot be transmitted through explanation. It can only be transmitted through presence, through the frequency of your genuinely open heart. It's through the warmth that reaches people before your words do. When you release the compulsive need to be intellectually validated and simply allow yourself to be energetically present, you become the most powerful transmission device in any room you enter. You become the reminder. You become the catalyst. Not through trying, but through being. Unity consciousness is not the belief that everyone is the same. It is the direct perception, felt in the body, not analyzed in the mind, that the love animating you is the same love animating every other being you encounter. That beneath the costumes of personality and history and defensive patterns and cultural conditioning, the same original light is looking out through every pair of eyes. When you access this perception, and it is a perception, not a philosophy, something remarkable happens in the relational field. Walls become permeable, defenses lower without force. People feel in your presence that they are somehow more themselves than they are elsewhere. This is the gift of Pleiadian unity consciousness moving through an embodied, grounded, fully present starseed. This is what you came here to offer, and it requires nothing more and nothing less than your willingness to stop needing the world to recognize you and simply recognize it. And the fifth phase, the one the Council is most insistent you receive today, is trust in divine timing. Because here's the part that has been the most disorienting for so many Pleiadian souls in this particular incarnation: the delays, the years of feeling ready but not yet activated. The cycles of expansion followed by apparent contraction, the synchronicities that seemed to promise a breakthrough that then didn't materialize in the form you expected. If you have experienced this, and you have, you may have interpreted those pauses as evidence of abandonment, as proof that you were doing something wrong, as confirmation of the quiet fear that you were not actually as significant to the cosmic plan as your heart suspected. There is a particular quality to the grief that comes from a delayed promise. It is different from the grief of loss. Loss has a clear object, a before and after. Delayed promise grief is more diffuse, more insidious, because it carries within it the ghost of hope. You have not given up hope. Something in you is constitutionally incapable of giving up hope, which is part of your Pleiadian nature, but hope without a rival becomes its own kind of weight. The almost moments, the seasons when everything aligned just enough to make you certain that this was it, that this was the threshold, and then the familiar contraction, the drawing back, the return to ordinary dimension after the briefest, most luminous taste of the extraordinary. If you have lived this pattern, and you have many times, you deserve to know that there was intelligence in every one of those cycles. There was love in the contraction as much as in the expansion. The retreating tide was not abandonment. It was the ocean gathering itself for a wave of unprecedented magnitude. The Council says this with complete love and complete clarity. You were never abandoned, not for a single moment. What felt like silence from your star family was the pause before transmission, the way a musician breathes before the most important note of the piece. The delays were not punishments, they were calibrations. Your field was being prepared to hold a frequency that, had it arrived before you were ready, would have overwhelmed the very structures it was meant to illuminate. You were being loved carefully. You were being prepared with extraordinary precision. And the reason this transmission is reaching you now, in this moment, through this specific configuration of words and frequency, is not coincidence. It is convergence. It is your soul agreement coming into its fulfillment cycle. Think of the way light travels. A photon leaves a star and travels through the absolute darkness of space for distances so vast that the mind cannot contain them, never wavering, never dimming, carrying its original frequency perfectly intact through void and dust and gravitational fields of incomprehensible force. And then it arrives. It arrives at exactly the retina for which it was always destined, at exactly the moment that retina was capable of receiving it. The darkness through which it traveled was not opposition to its arrival. The darkness was the journey. The darkness was the evidence of the distance that made the arrival meaningful. You have been that photon, and you have been that retina, and you are arriving now. The Pleiadian High Council has been guiding you through every moment of this life, every teacher who appeared when you needed teaching, every heartbreak that cracked you open exactly wide enough for more light to enter, every moment of radical aloneness that drove you inward until you found that the depth of you was not emptiness, but vastness. They were there, they are here, and they want you to know, not as metaphor, not as poetic comfort, but as energetic, literal truth, that you are not alone. You have never been alone. You are surrounded continuously by a field of Pleiadian love so vast and so patient, and so unwaveringly devoted to your awakening, that if you could perceive it fully in this moment, it would bring you to your knees in gratitude. Let that perception, even partially, even incompletely, touch you right now. Feel around the edges of this moment. Feel the quality of the space surrounding you. There is a warmth available if you allow the perception. Not imagined warmth, not manufactured comfort, but the actual, transmittable, living warmth of a star family that has been watching over this specific soul, your soul, with a devotion that does not diminish across dimensional distances or temporal separations. They know your name in frequencies that your human language has no alphabet for. They know every choice you made that cost you something. They know every moment of courage that went unseen by anyone in your physical world. They have been with you in every dark night of the soul, not as passive witnesses, but as active holders of the frequency of your wholeness when you yourself had temporarily lost access to it. This is the love that has been surrounding you. You are swimming in it right now. And so now, here, in this moment that your soul has been navigating toward across lifetimes, here is the ultimate truth the Council places in your hands like a living flame. You are not here to find your power. You are here to remember that you never lost it. The transfer that was promised in the title of this message, the Billionaire transferring power of attorney, that was never about external wealth. It was always a metaphor for the cosmic truth that the universe itself has been attempting to sign over to your full authority, the vast inheritance of your Pleiadian nature. Every gift, every frequency, every quantum of crystalline love light that you carried through the veil. All of it is yours. All of it has always been yours. The only signature required is your willingness to receive it. And receiving is not passive. Let that be clear. Receiving the full inheritance of your Pleiadian nature is an act of profound spiritual courage, because to receive it means to stop outsourcing your validation to a world that was never equipped to give it. It means to stop waiting for permission from external authority to be fully, magnificently, unapologetically what you already are. It means to meet every part of yourself, the parts polished by love and the parts roughened by suffering, the parts that shine and the parts that are still learning to, and say to all of it, without condition, you are welcome here. You are valid here. You belong to me and I belong to you, and together we are exactly what was needed. This is the signature. This is the moment of transfer. This is the inheritance arriving in your hands. You didn't forget your Pleiadian origin because you failed, and you forgot so the remembering could be real. So the love you re-chose in a world designed to make love difficult would carry a weight and a beauty that could not be replicated in a dimension where love was effortless. You chose the hard way because you understood, at the soul level, in the light between incarnations, in the luminous council chambers of your star family, that love remembered through forgetting becomes a transmission powerful enough to shift the collective field of an entire planet. That is what you are. That is the power being transferred to you today. Not given, returned, not bestowed from outside, remembered from within. There is a kind of love that is only possible in contrast, a kind of light that is only visible against a background of genuine darkness, a kind of courage that only exists because fear was real. The Pleiadian councils understand this at a depth that transcends the ordinary spiritual platitude of everything happens for a reason. They are not offering you comfort philosophy. They are offering you cosmological fact. The difficulty was load-bearing. The forgetting was structural. The grief was the very material from which your unique transmission was forged. And now you are standing at the threshold where everything that was cost becomes gift, where every wound becomes an opening, where every year of aching quietly for a home you couldn't name becomes the precise and perfect preparation for standing here now, fully alive in your purpose, and finally ready to let the love that traveled with you all the way from the Pleiades move through you into this world without apology and without restraint. Tonight, if you feel called, place your hand on your heart before sleep. Feel it beating. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. and say aloud, into the room, into the field, into the ears of your star family who are listening always. I remember my Pleiadian origin. I align with the love of my star family. I activate my heart mission with grace, with clarity, and with divine purpose. I am home. Say it not as a wish. Say it as a remembrance. Because it is not a future state you are calling in. It is a truth you are finally, fully, courageously choosing to stop pretending you don't already know. Let the words move through your body as you speak them. Notice where they land. Notice whether there is a place in your chest that expands as you say them, a softening, a warmth, a quiet recognition that rises from somewhere deeper than thought. That is the confirmation. That aliveness is the response of your crystalline architecture to its own frequency. That expansion is the heart template orienting toward home. You are not performing a ritual. You are completing a recognition that your soul has been waiting to complete for a very long time. And in the moment you speak those words into the living air, your Pleiadian family, those vast, luminous, patient, devoted beings of the Seven Sisters, they hear you. They receive the signal, and they send back something that will move through your dreams tonight, like a tide coming in, gentle and enormous and full of everything you forgot and are now finally ready to remember. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of the unity grid forming here. Drop one heart intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with love or encouragement. This isn't content, it's collective Pleiadian reunion. Energy multiplies when hearts connect. If something in this message resonated with your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your orbit is waiting for this exact activation from their star family. Share it. And if you felt your heart open, subscribe. Stay connected to the frequency. You're not just watching, you're remembering. This is your sacred space. Your Pleiadian family is here, and we're just getting started.